I am somewhere in South America in a little hidden valley here, and I have my friend Ivan on the phone. We are going to have a conversation on a 1 year update of an interview we did last year about his particular trading strategy, his modest and prudent trading strategy, where he can basically trade from his phone anywhere in the world, whether he's in South America or right now he is actually back in Canada temporarily and will be back down here soon, which is why I have him on a phone call and you guys will get an opportunity to listen to it. So here we are. This is, oh, by the way, not financial advice. You are just listening to a conversation between two friends for informational purposes only, entertainment purposes only, not legal advice, not medical advice. All right, just kidding about that. Okay, so here we are. Ivan, how's it going, Ivan?
It's going good. How are you, Zach?
I'm doing good, man. I'm glad to hear that you are doing good. You ready to do the 1 year update on trading for people that want to be location independent?
Yes, let's do it. What kind of questions do you have for me today, Zach?
All right, so the first question, let me see here on my phone, is do you still think that in the year 2026 going into 2027, trading with a prudent strategy is a good remote job option for people that want to be location independent? If yes, why do you think it is still a good option?
I still believe it's a good option. Nothing has changed since last year because you have different things you can do, right? We talked about that in great length. You're never only limited to one trading style. There's different trading styles, and these trading styles can be used independently or together depending on market conditions. So it gives you a lot of flexibility too.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Well, let me ask you this. Okay, so the next question is since last year's conversation, the 1 hour interview we did on your trading strategy, has anything changed with your personal trading strategy?
Yeah, like I had to tweak it a little bit because of time restraints. I came back to see some family, and then I picked up a job here to do for a couple of months just so I'm not wasting my time, and then my hours are not too convenient to actively monitor trades. So I have switched more to the selling portion of it. So we talked about options and what they are. So I've mostly done options selling, and that's when you're like essentially acting as the insurance company or the bank, and you're collecting premiums. So you're not necessarily making as much money as before, but you're more steady, right? And you're more secure, more stable. So I've been kind of switching on that. And just overall, Zach, I've noticed, over the years that if you just slow down a little bit and trade less, you're actually going to be more profitable than a lot of people. Where a lot of guys get in trouble, they learn how to do this kind of business, and out of boredom or greed or different emotional factors, they decide to overtrade, and that's when you can really get in trouble. So less is more, and but I've definitely changed that. I've lowered the amount of trades that I do, but also I'm focusing on better quality companies.
Oh, okay. Better quality company. So before you were trading a lot of like, I guess there were funds, right? SPY, but now you're doing individual. You're doing a little bit more of individual, really good companies. Am I understanding that right? Just like individual ones.
Yeah. So for example, this is just an example so people can visualize. Like I'm trading like SoFi, which is essentially an online bank, online lender. So I'm trading that. But what I'll do, for example, I'll buy 100 shares or 200 shares of that said company, and I'll either sell covered calls against it or I'll sell cash secure puts, and we can get into that a little bit later. But I'm essentially collecting premiums. I have bought a few leaps, like basically when you're doing that, you buy yourself a lot of time on a position. And for example, Palantir, they're a major arms manufacturer. Like they have a lot of defense contracts with the states. So I did a little earnings play on them, and unfortunately, I posted position right before earnings, which was, a mistake. I still made about $380 on that trade, but I lost out on close to $3,000 worth of profit. So we can get into that a little bit later. But basically, there's going to be times when you can have really good home runs, but nobody really knows where the market is going. And I am more on the cautious side now. So I rather have something for sure than something probably, if you know what I mean.
Oh, okay. Actually, I do want to ask you about that. So, just to clarify, you didn't lose $3,000. You just missed an opportunity to have made $3,000 profit on a trade with that, right?
Yeah, that has happened to me several times, but it is kind of like a faulty kind of feeling, because whenever you think like, oh, I would have made this much money, would have made that much money, but it's more important to stick to your rules, because if you don't stick to your rules, yes, if you're a bit more careless, you'll get those home runs where you're gonna essentially make a lot of money in the year. But a lot of traders don't talk about when they take a $1 or $2 or $3,000 loss in a trade, or if the trade blows up, because that happens too. So a good way to kind of have more of a steady income is to just kind of scale it back a little bit, and take the smaller bites, smaller profit. As long as your losses are kept pretty strict, as long as your losses are less than your gain, you're good. So if that means that your portfolio is only going to be up 10% for the year, well, that's fine. That's fine. Or if you're playing around with $10,000 or $20,000, and now you want to double that, you can absolutely double that in 1 year. But you're going to be taking some chances, and all it takes is 1 or 2 events during the year that are unforeseen to wipe out your account. So you really got to be careful.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense now. So, just real quick comment, I guess, for anyone that's listening to have a little bit more context, I really encourage you to go watch the 1 hour interview that we did last year, because one of the big keys to Ivan, his personal strategy that I like a lot, is basically getting rid of greed. Like he was just describing it just now, right? Like basically, not trying so hard to make lots of money. This is literally just making little bits of profit on a regular basis to where you can make a living. Now, let me ask you this quick question, Ivan, and this will, how do I say this? There's a question that I have for you, but also whoever is like listening into this conversation might have. You mentioned that as you're back in Canada taking care of a few things while you happen to be there, you are you have taken on another temporary job, so which means that I assume you're still just trading your regular modest trading that would be good if you were back down in South America. You're just this safe, prudent, modest trading. You're not trading with huge amounts of money, and it's not what you're trading right now wouldn't be enough to probably live in Canada or to take care of all the things you're doing, because you're coming back down to South America pretty soon. Is that do I have that right?
Yeah, no, that's correct. Right now, what I'm doing, I'm maybe limiting myself to 1 trade a week, whereas before I would do about 3 to 5. But yeah, I come back here to see some family, and if you want to, it's good to wear different kind of hats. You know what I mean? Like if you have other skills, take advantage of those. So when you're back to your home country, if you're like a skilled tradesman, if you want to go work oil and gas, or if you have any other skills, or you're a dental hygienist, or you're in the legal field or medical field, well, do that for a while, fatten up your bank account, and then when you're back down to where you're going, you can go down the path of online job, no problem, including trading. And I was having this conversation with your brother, actually, Zach, and I looked at my account and I sent him photos and stuff, and I've averaged just around $1,000 a month in profit, and I'm playing that on one of my accounts. I have 3 different accounts, so probably about, I'm just going to do a rough calculation, about 30,000 Canadian dollars. I'm able to, over the course of a year, with my wins and losses, swing $1,000. So $1,000 will get you a fairly decent and comfortable life in a lot of countries out there. So that's something definitely to consider. And if you're not too comfortable right now because you're starting out, nobody's saying that you can't go back home and work for 6 months, fatten up your bank account. then come down to wherever you want to live in South America or parts of Asia, wherever. And then you have that cushion, and then you have also that time and not so much pressure to make your online activities come to fruition. Does that make sense, Zach?
Yeah, that's actually really, really smart. That's kind of the same thing I tell people. Not well, okay, I'm not talking about trading, but just talking about any kind of trying to build up your own personal remote income. I always tell people that, if you're wanting to go live in a country where life is, not as expensive, okay, and then so you're coming from a country like Canada or US or whatever, and yeah, if you can have like enough money to live off of for 2 or 3 years, well, then whenever you get there and you get your house comfortable, you have your couch and you buy, the stuff that you need for your apartment, and you feel comfortable, then all of a sudden just get to work and chip away at it every day as you're building up a remote business, right? But in this case, we're talking about trading. But yeah, that makes sense. So if
Yeah.
you, what do you think
So
that, yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to jump in because people are listening. They're probably more than halfway done listening now. I want to say you're never alone. Like people might feel, oh, this is so hard. Like, okay, these guys are talking about these like concepts that I'm not familiar with. You're never truly alone because you know, I'm here for you. Like Zach is here. If you guys have any questions, reach out to us. It's all about getting the information that you need to make the best decision for yourself. And there's nothing wrong in asking. You ask, if you knock, doors will open for you. And I just want to kind of remove that anxiety because I've spoken to people here as well, and I kind of mentioned to them about the lifestyle, and everybody's like looking at you like, oh, you can already tell by their body language, it's just too much for them. But what if they had a support system and a network they can kind of rely on to get them going with some training wheels? And like you helped me, like you and your brother have helped me a lot in the past before. Like I'm kind of an example. I just took the first step, and then I took the second step after, and then with your guys' guidance and help, I've been able to achieve the dream, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, sorry. I think you had another question for me, and then I kind of interrupted you. What was your last question that you wanted to ask me?
Let's see. How much disposable money do you trade with to make? Yeah, like let's say a person, down here or well, in some any low cost country, right? And they're wanting to make between $50 to $100 a day, maybe sometimes $150 here or there, but I don't know. Let's say an average of $75 a day trading. With your particular style of trading, what amount of money would a person need, or would you need to be able to make about that much money per day? Like disposable money that they don't need to touch, like they're just constantly
Yeah.
using that money for trading.
Well, the more you have, then the less risks you have to take to make that a reality. So what I mean by that, for example, in my situation, I have about 3 accounts totaling about $25,000. And the way that I administer these accounts, I'm not in a situation where I'm going to blow them all. So I can make that happen. That 50 to 100 a day on average. But as I mentioned, like I'm kind of averaging 1,000 a month, right? So if there's 22 trading days, it's probably more. Let's say I'm probably hitting up more to that $35 to $50 a day on average, based off of 6 months to a year. So to that question, like you could do it for as little as 10 grand, but then you have to have some mentorship and talk to people who are a little bit more experienced. But if you want to do it on your own, 25,000 kind of, in my opinion, is the minimum. And then if you happen to have more, that's even better, because then you can get into some really safer kind of positions and just kind of kick back and collect your 500 to 1,000 a month, and that is enough, as we both know, to live a normal, comfortable life in many South American nations, provided that you're a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Like you're not going to go to the expensive areas, and you're not going to be, buying food at the hotel, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, okay, now I do have another question for you, though, to clarify something, because I think before you had mentioned that a person easily could do decent trading $4,000 or $5,000, that just to have it in their account that they're trading with. Is that still like, what's the difference between a person trading with 10,000 and because I think a lot of people in U.S. and Canada may not have that available. Of course, some will. You know, that's not
Yeah.
huge. But what would be the big difference between having 4 or 5 thousand in your trading account to trade with and 10,000?
So I'll explain it away with the assumption that people know what options are, and if they don't, then it's going to be a little bit more time consuming for me to explain, like in this short interview that we're having.
Well, no, no. If they don't, then they
If
can
you
just go back and watch that 1 hour interview. We're gonna plug that in here. For anyone that's listening on
well,
this, if you don't know what options trading are, go watch the interview we did last year, 1 hour. I'll put it in the description as well, hopefully, if I don't forget. And yeah, but yeah, go ahead, Ivan.
yeah, essentially with $5,000, then you're mostly going to have to be doing buying. So you'll be buying option contracts, and those tend to be more risky. But you can mitigate by having pretty sharp stop loss orders. So if it goes against you, you'll take a loss, right, and then you'll walk away and live to fight another day. So with those, what I used to do, I would buy further out of like not out of the money, but like in the money options, meaning that they would have a 70 delta. So basically, you're buying it a certain kind of way that for every dollar move, you're going to make 70 cents on that trade. And you will buy a lot of time on that contract. So you're not buying anything a week out, a month out. You're buying 6 months out, a year out. And those tend to be more expensive. And then as soon as that stock moves in your favor, you just sell it. You sell that contract and you scalp. So you could start making money immediately. But what I was saying, if you have more money, then you can get into some more creative investment strategies that are a little bit less riskier.
Hey,
Okay,
Ivan.
and I can.
Hey, if you don't mind, I think you just opened up an awesome topic for our next video of trading for people that want to be location independent. What if we talk about that in the next video? We talk about how if you do happen to have a little bit more money, how it is that you can do even safer trades. Because I think to a lot of people that doesn't make sense. Wait, if you're trading more money, it can be safer? Isn't it a higher risk if you have more money? It means you could lose more money. You know what I mean? Like I can hear the comments now of people that that don't know as much.
Yeah, like you said, we'll explain that next time. But there's more stuff involved. There's stuff you can do to protect your position against wild events occurring. So we can get into that later, Zach.
Sounds awesome.